Okay, so at the very end of our video, which if you didn't get the video finished, that was supposed to be your homework. So make sure if you are not finished with that, you go back and get caught up. But I gave you 4 different character traits for Mrs. Jones and 4 character traits for Roger. We're going to look at those together and make sure that we have a good foundation for our test next week, okay? So our 4 character traits for Mrs. Jones were stubborn, compassionate, quick-witted, and forgiving. So your homework was to go label the different character traits within our story. A lot of these were already underlined. I actually think all of these were underlined at some point. So it was just a matter of going through and looking at your Mrs. Jones colors, looking at your Roger colors, and picking out pieces of text evidence that supported these character qualities, okay? So let's look at stubborn. Did we do that first one together? I think we did. So where does it tell us that Mrs. Jones is stubborn? If we did that one together, what did we write down? Good. So it's this right here. So we're going to write stubborn right beside it. Right here in the first paragraph. The large woman simply turned around and kicked him right square in his blue jean sitter. She reached down, picked the boy up by his shirt front, and shook him until his teeth rattled. So we know here that she is not going to let him just run away and never be seen again, right? She has a point to prove here. So now we're going to take that text and put it in our text evidence box. So we took those 2 sentences here and put them in our text evidence box. All right, compassionate. How do we know that Mrs. Jones is compassionate? There are a couple of different things that might show this, but there's one big instance that really shows us that she is trying to care for Roger. Go ahead, Megan. Yes, very good. So let's flip this over to the back side here, where we have this huge paragraph where it talks about all the things that she does for Roger. So she cooked for him, and then she does not ask him questions that might make him feel uncomfortable, right? So she's going to feed him and she's going to entertain him, try to distract him from what's happening. So this is compassionate. And then we're going to shorten this up just a tad because we don't want to put that whole paragraph in our tiny little box, right? So we'll say she heated some lima beans and ham that she had in the ice box. And then we'll use ellipses. Do you know what those are? Ellipses, like a dot, dot, dot at the end of a sentence. That tells us that there's more to the sentence, but we really only need that first part. So she heated some lima beans and ham. She had in the icebox. And then dot, dot, dot means that there's more to the sentence, but we can always reference back to our story instead of writing it all out, right? Yeah. Yeah, jot it off to the side. What was yours? Oh, we'll get to that one. Okay. Yes, that would be a good example. And then the woman did not ask the boy anything about where he lived or his folks or anything else that would embarrass him. So again, because we want to shorten it up, we're just going to use the first part of that sentence where it says the woman did not ask the boy anything. And then use our ellipses again. All right, quick-witted. How do we know that Mrs. Jones is a little sassy? She thinks on her feet. She might have a sassy remark for Roger at some point in our story. What was that, Mason?
Not with that face, I would not take you nowhere.
Good. So Roger asks her. He's a little worried about what's going to happen once he gets to her house. So he asks her, "Are you going to take me to jail?" And she goes, "Not with that face. I wouldn't take you nowhere." Like she's not even going to take him to jail. He looks so bad. So you know that he's looking a little rough. So quick-witted. Have that there. And then let's see. And because this is a quotation, this is something that she's saying, we need to put quotation marks around it. Not with that face, I would not take you nowhere. And finally, how do we know that she is forgiving? What's our first instance that shows us that she's going to forgive Roger instead of punish him? What do you think, Braylee? Okay, that was at the very end, so that would be an example of her following through with her forgiveness. We know for sure by then she's forgiven him. What's our first little glimmer of forgiveness here in the story? What does she do? Good. So if you look on the front page, where she says, "You ought to be my son. I would teach you right from wrong. Least I can do now is to wash your face. Are you hungry?" So she knows right here that lecturing him or trying to punish him isn't going to get very far because she can tell that he is just a mess. Physically, emotionally, in his life situation, he's just a mess. And so she wants to help. So she says, the least I can do right now is to wash your face. Like, let's just start there. Let's get you cleaned up. Also, what teenage boy isn't hungry, right? Again, we're using quotations. When you're done, you can flip that over and write down that first sentence of reckless. How do we know that Roger's reckless? Get that jotted down. That was an example that I had in the video. Mm-hmm. So our 4 character traits for Roger are reckless, nervous, honest, and easy to please. That's what I meant, eager to please. Thank you. You know how you're thinking something and then it comes out a different way? It gets worse when you have kids. Okay, reckless. How do we know that Roger is reckless? Mason?
When a boy ran up and snatched her purse.
Good. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and she was walking alone when a boy ran up behind her and tried to snatch her purse. We know here that he didn't have a game plan. He just saw a lady and was like, oh, this looks like a good target. I'm going to steal her purse. What he didn't do was really analyze the situation. Think about it this way. You can tell when somebody's backpack is really heavy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, they might be leaned forward. It looks really full. Like the bottom part, like the rubbery part of the backpack is really like hanging out on the bottom. Like you can tell when somebody's backpack is heavy. So you'll be able to tell when like a lady's purse is heavy because it will look like she might be leaned to one side or maybe like holding it up like this, and it just looks really heavy. He doesn't take that into consideration whatsoever. He just acts impulsively. So it was about 11 o'clock at night. She was walking home alone when a boy ran up behind her and tried to snatch her purse. Nope. Right. All right, nervous. Think about when you get nervous, what response might your body have? Are you like super chill, low heart rate, maybe take a nap? Okay, your heart rate's really high, your heart's racing super fast. Yeah, you're sweating. What'd you say, Ethan? Good, right here. Sweat popped out on the boy's face and he began to struggle. Oh, yeah, sorry. It's on the second page on the very top. Okay, how do we know that he's honest? What do you think, Tasia? Okay, he's telling her that he doesn't have anybody at home. Where before that is he honest? So we see throughout the story that he is consistently honest, which is good. But there's the very first moment where we know that he's not going to play around with her. He's just going to tell her the truth because she's going to whoop him clearly if he doesn't. What do you think, Rylan? Good. So on the front page here, where it says, "If I turn you loose, will you run?" "Yes'm," said the boy. Make sure you're using your quotation marks, periods, question marks, all the things. Practicing our mechanics with this. Yeah, that's fine. And how do we know that he is eager to please Mrs. Jones? So he wants to pay her back, and he offers to do something for her. Crystal? Say that again. Yes, go to the store. So this is on the last page here, where it says, "Do you need somebody to go to the store?" Excellent. When you're finished with this page, it can go back in your binder, or if it's already there, great. And then we're going to get out the citing dialogue in text page. You can take that out of your binder if you want to leave your story in the binder, but we're going to go back and forth between those two. It should be the one right after this one that we were just working on, analyzing the character. And then you need a gray marker. Somebody stole one of my gray markers yesterday, so I'm one short. So if you have one in your backpack or something, that would be awesome. You weren't here yesterday. What? Yes, that is correct. It was nobody here. Okay, citing dialogue in the text. So what we're going to do first is just read through these sentences. We're going to find the answers to these questions. We're going to read through these questions, find the text evidence that answers these questions, underline them with our gray marker, label them number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you will go back later and fill these in with the correct responses. Again, practicing our mechanics, making sure that we have quotation marks, capital letters, periods, question marks, whatever we need. Okay? So let's look at number 1. Why hadn't Roger eaten dinner yet? How do we know that he hadn't eaten dinner? What does he tell us? Megan? Good. There's nobody home at my house. And a lot of these are going to be already underlined, so you just need to leave a little bit of space if you can. That way we don't make a mess out of our story. The gray is to answer or to find the text evidence for these questions. So underline this here and label it number 1. Yes, this is on the second page. Sorry about that. Number 2, why did Roger try to snatch the purse? Good. He wanted blue suede shoes. So it's just a couple of lines down here. I wanted a pair of blue suede shoes. underline label number 2. Now, number 3 has 2 answers, and I want us to have them both. So we'll label it 3A and 3B. But the question is, why was the woman able to sympathize with Roger's situation? How did she know what it felt like to be him? What does she tell us? Good. Here's one. I were young once and I wanted things I could not get. 3A. Thank you, Tasia. Are you good, Savannah? Okay. Where's the second one? So we know that she was also in a situation where she wanted things she couldn't have. She goes on a little further and shares what kind of information with us. Ethan?
You thought I was going to say, but don't you? You thought I was going to say, but I didn't snap people possible.
Yep, keep going.
I wasn't going to say that. I had done things too that which I would not tell you from. You just kept on repeating all of it.
Good. So she's telling us here that she's also made bad choices, things that she doesn't even want to talk about because she's just that ashamed or embarrassed of the choices that she's made. But she didn't let that define her. There was a moment sometime in her life where maybe just like she's showing Roger an act of kindness, maybe somebody did the same thing for her and it really set her off on a better path. So 3B. Number 4, what does Roger offer to do for the woman? Megan? Good. And that's number 4. Number 5, after the boy washed his face twice, what other grooming did the woman have him do? Good, where is that? Awesome. It's on that last page, the last sentence of the first paragraph. You might run that comb through your hair so you'll look presentable. That's number 5. Number 6, what did Roger fear that the woman might do to him after she brought him home? Take him to jail. Good. So right above quick-witted, you gonna take me to jail? That's number 6. Nope, this is on the second page. Right above quick-witted. Number 7, what was the first thing the woman said to Roger in the story? The very first thing. Mason? Finish that off for me. Good. Pick up my pocketbook, boy, and give it here. She tells us pretty early on that she's not going to be messed around with, right? She kicks him in the butt, she shakes him until his teeth rattle, and then she's pretty straightforward about what she wants him to do. And the last one, what does the woman give Roger other than a hot meal? Megan? Good, $10. So it says, now here, take this $10 and buy yourself some blue suede shoes. Okay, remember, we are practicing our mechanics here. So when we are copying down our responses, capital letters, quotation marks if a character is speaking, which most of them are, and periods, question marks, what have you. So the first one here, why hadn't Roger eaten dinner yet? We're going to look for our number 1 that we have underlined, and it said, there's nobody home at my house.
So use this time. We have about 10 minutes before the bell rings. Use this time to get your answered transferred over here. If you've not done the color coding from Friday, this would be a good time for you to get that done as well, okay? And then this is your homework, so if you get it finished, you don't have homework today. Yay!